Good morning. I'd like to call to order the New York State Appearance Enhancement Advisory Committee meeting. Today is October 7th and it is 10:04 a.m. I'm Emily Lupe. We'll start with roll call in New York City.
Claudette Giles.
Dana Persico, Long Island Nail, Skin and Hair Institute.
Anthony Fiore, Capri.
Aaron Maben.
Dave Mossberg, Department of State.
And then Albany, Laura?
Laura Van Etten, Department of State.
Jennifer Schwinger, Department of State.
Emily Lupe, Department of State.
Leanne Shea, cosmetologist and salon owner.
Shannon McGuire, Department of State.
Candace Burchett, Department of State.
Dave, do we have members for quorum?
No.
We have 5.
Sorry. Oh, yes, sorry. We have 5 board members. I was confused because I saw earlier somebody said that they weren't attending. So I
Yes.
apologize. Yes,
Okay.
5 is more than half of 9.
Thank you. So the first order of business will be to approve the meeting summaries. So included in your meeting materials are summaries from Appearance Enhancement Advisory Committee meetings from September 13th, 2021 through July 1st, 2025. Does anyone have any comments or questions on these meeting summaries?
Emily, this is Paul in Buffalo, New York. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, we just didn't get included on the roll call. I just want to make sure that you're made aware that I'm on the call, and we're from the Salon Professional Academy in Tonawanda.
Okay, are you here as a member of the public?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so when we get to the public comment period, we will call on you at that time.
Roger that. Thank you.
Thanks. So for the meeting summaries, were there any questions or comments? Can I have a motion to approve these meeting summaries?
All motion.
All right, thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Next are the department and subcommittee reports. First up is the enforcement report. Laura?
Hello. For 2025, our inspection program began on January 1st with a continued focus on nail salons. Since January 1st, 2025, we have completed 2,076 inspections. We are currently on track to meet our quota of approximately 3,000 inspections statewide. The tickets are continuing to be handled through the opportunity to cure process, which shops are given an opportunity to cure the violations identified through an email system. The process has proven to be very successful. Of the 2,076 inspections, 859 have been closed as resolved, which means that these businesses cured all violations within the OTC period, which is 30 days. 504 have been referred for hearing, which means these businesses have failed to cure some or all of the violations identified within that OTC period. They were referred to our attorneys to handle. Additional steps to the OTC process was initiated in June. If the licensee has failed to cure within the 30 days, they will receive an opportunity to settle with a fine to avoid going to hearing, which is given 30 more days. This appears to be working well. We've had 14 businesses settle thus far. Currently, there are 83 consumer complaints that are being investigated against appearance enhancement shops, barber shops, and operators. 72 of those complaints are appearance enhancement complaints, 11 are barber complaints.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is the processing report. That's me. So since the new system was implemented in late April of this year, over 30,000 licensees and applicants have successfully claimed their license record or application record. We are seeing consistent success with claiming transactions, but we do continue to monitor this closely so that we can refine our guidance as needed. And that concludes the processing report. Any questions? Anthony?
You're
Oh, I
muted.
believe you're muted.
Right,
I'm sorry?
no, you're good.
Okay. Seems like when the temporary licenses, when they expire, the individuals who are coming back to my school are not able to claim that license, obviously, because it doesn't exist anymore because it was expired. Is there anything working on that? Because we're having a very difficult time besides calling, which luckily some people have gotten through. But, you know, it's a much, obviously difficult, to call and actually get someone on the phone to help them through, because when they do get through, they actually will have a process, I guess, on the end of the Department of State, they have to reopen that case and then the student can go in and, you know, claim their license. Is there anything being done regarding that?
I can look into that further and get back to you. In terms of the temporary license, if it is expired, the applicant would also have an application record. But I can get some more refined guidance on that.
Can I steer them towards with an application number? Would that assist them? No, not through the
Yes.
system.
Yep, if they have their application number, then they can use. But I can get some more refined guidance on that
Okay.
for you. And then certainly if, you know, the students are having difficulty with the record, they can call, or they can also email beauty@dos.ny.gov. And that's a dedicated mailbox for
Okay.
appearance enhancement licensees. The typical turnaround time is within 2 business days or less for responses to emails.
Okay,
And the more information that can be included, the better.
okay. Hey, did you write that down?
That was gonna be my.
Yeah, could you just spell that email address for me? Oh,
Sure.
Yeah, I'll have it also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even with, people that have old license, they're having issue claiming their license.
Thank you.
And so I got some information about steering them to the website. But they're saying it wasn't helpful, so I haven't had a time to go back to figure out why it wasn't helpful. I guess more information was needed. I'm not sure what the issue was at that time. But they're saying they still haven't been able to claim their license.
Yeah, I have people that are having.
Yeah, I
difficulty as
have
well.
workers that I'm like, they have their license up, but they're like, it's not on the site. I can't claim it.
Mhm.
So they're having issue claiming their license also.
I think there was since last week, beginning of last week, there's been an update where if they
Okay.
go back in now, they start with a new browser, they should.
They should be able to
Yeah.
do it now. Okay, so
And certainly if there's, you know, if they're having difficulty, we would encourage them to reach out either to that email address, which again is beauty@dos.ny.gov. And then, especially when emailing, the more information that can be included, the better. So if they have their license number, name, address, that sort of information. That's very helpful. Thank you.
How many total licenses need to be claimed, just for the curiosity?
So we have,
It's pretty much.
yeah, yes, I believe it's 300,000 approximately, license and application records.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not just cosmetology.
Correct. Yep, that would be, you know, any of the license types plus applications.
Okay.
What was that number?
About 300,000
Thank you.
total.
of active licenses.
That's the examination report.
Hello. So attached to your meeting material were exam stats for the first half of 2024 and the first half of 2025. You may notice there's a decrease in number of examinees sitting for the aesthetics and nail exam. That was mentioned at the last meeting as well. I believe that's partly due to the launch of the new system, as well as in 2024, in order to reduce the wait times, we added additional exams, which led to a short increase of examinees that are waiting to take their exams. But that's something we'll continue to keep an eye on to see if that trend continues. Are there any questions on the exam material included in your material?
I have a question. Recently,
Sure.
as a school owner, we've recently received emails showing our pass-fail rates for our particular school. I'm wondering if the state is going to continue that, and because we have to do what we call an annual report for our accrediting bodies, their schedule is January to December, and you guys are running usually July to June. But are we expecting to keep getting those reports so that we can accurately give the results to our accrediting bodies?
Yes, that's our goal. It's something being worked on within the new system. I don't have a timeline for when that will be ready, but it is on our radar and something being worked on.
Will we be notified once it's all ready, rock and
Yes,
roll?
so
Okay.
once that report's ready, we would send it to state ed and then they distribute it to the schools.
Okay, thank you.
So all the work this year, we did it manually.
Were there any additional questions? Okay. Moving on to new business, the natural hair and cosmetology curriculum update. Erin?
All right. Last time we went over both of the packets and they were, taken home to review. And I guess we just want to know, are there any questions? Do you have any concerns? Are we okay with this moving forward? This is for the updates to texture and cosmetology and the natural hair curriculum updates as well.
The
No,
highlight,
there's cosmetology, there's two.
Yeah.
Natural hair, and then there's cosmetology.
So I only have one question where it says hair type and texture.
Mhm.
It says hair type fine, medium, thick. So
Where is
this,
this? On which one?
on costume.
Okay.
So my only question is, thick could be, your hair could be fine. If we're talking about dimension, they could be considered thick.
Mhm.
So, we're not saying coarse anymore, or we're saying thick.
Well, I think this is regarding the diameter of the hair, not the texture. So it's fine, medium, thick, and maybe that's
Okay.
to kind of also sometimes coarse can be derogatory,
Got it?
right? So I
But-
think in reference
Trying to find a word to
the
fit that.
strand, right, in the diameter. So that is because coarse typically can be texture. Like if you think about it, like in the field.
Mhm. So
right,
this is not
whereas
about
thick-
texture.
Yeah, that's about the diameter of the hair.
Because it says hair type and texture, so
Mhm, so
I
the
was just
texture
a
is
little
next.
confused.
So the hair types are first, fine, medium, thick. That's the
Mhm.
diameter of the hair. And then the hair textures would be straight, wavy, curly, wiry, coily, and afro texture.
So, right, so this is where I actually had the student class, and this was, before I saw this,
Yeah.
this was a conversation, because if you say the hair is fine, and we're talking dimension,
Mhm,
it could be fine, but thick.
mhm. So I think that would have to do with the density, right? So
Mhm.
fine is like the type is dealing with the diameter and the strand and the fiber,
Mhm.
the single fiber of hair.
Mhm.
Whereas the density would determine whether that fine hair had thick strands, right? So you
Got
can
it.
have fine hair but have a thick strand. So I understand that.
Right, so this was just a little confusing to
Mhm.
me, and I mean, so I would just reword that, the thick, just for clarity all around, because what you'll find is that one person look at this book and see thick
Mhm.
hair, fine media, another one, so just to keep it consistent, just a suggestion.
And it may have been updated in the new cosmetology book too.
Okay.
So, but we can double check and
Okay.
see what that terminology is.
Okay.
Okay.
But thank you.
Sure.
I have a question regarding the hair analysis, 10 hours.
And which one is this?
This is cosmetology.
Okay.
Mhm.
Under the hair analysis and things like that, and I assume that the ones that are not highlighted already exist,
Mhm.
yes?
Yes.
Would there be a space in there for the density? So per square inch, the number of
I mean,
hairs
that
per
would
square?
be something to add,
to-
right?
Because hair analysis density would be part of that as well.
Yes.
That will help.
And
add
that would
question
clarify
right there.
what you were,
Because here, if I
Yeah.
just looked at it, I'm looking at it as the kind of hair, is it fine, medium? Because for years, we say fine, medium, coarse.
yes.
So, adding
I think
density and
that-
be clear
Yes.
on what this is.
Per square inch.
Yeah, per square inch, then that would be.
Yeah, and I think density is important because I don't
So
think
if you
it's
say
something talked
per
about.
square inch here, maybe
Yeah.
that will be helpful.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Is that something we can
Well,
do?
yeah, so
Okay.
just to confirm though, so
Right.
right now there are these two sub bullets under hair types and textures.
Mhm.
Is it the proposal of the board to add a third bullet underneath that says hair density, like dash per square?
No, it would go porosity, elasticity, density.
Density.
Mhm.
So-
Because those are all characteristics of the type and the texture of hair.
So it'd be a main bullet. not a
Yes.
sub.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then, I'm sorry, what is the,
density,
just
per square inch, number of hair.
density per,
You can
density.
just say density.
Or
because
density.
Yeah,
they'll
then
know.
We'll know how to teach it.
Yeah,
Density.
yeah, density is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just density.
And then they'll teach the formality of it.
So that will clarify, because
Yes.
if you say thick, I promise you'll be having arguments.
Confusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I
So
think
with
that's
that, now it's a
a
little
good-
clearer. Okay. All right, got it.
in between.
Mhm.
so sorry, I'm just gonna show Aaron. Density.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the
Density.
right way, yeah.
Anyway,
All right, is that all for this?
That
all the
was,
other stuff looks good.
yeah, that's
Okay.
all I saw at the time.
Okay,
I think they're good.
are we gonna be able to move on this?
So,
We have a quorum.
Okay. I don't know. That's good.
So we have a modification, but are we still able to move forward on this or?
yeah, so
Aye,
the,
yes.
the board could vote to make the recommendation to the secretary to update the cosmetology curriculum based on the draft with the additional revision to subject 4 by adding another main topic at density under elasticity.
Yeah.
So if there is any member of the board that would like to make that vote, that would be the vote.
Aye.
I vote for that.
I do need a second.
Second, and then everyone will vote for it as they please.
So I would make the recommendation, I vote to make the recommendation to the secretary to add the additional information that represents density
Mhm.
under as a subcategory of hair type and texture.
Hair analysis.
Excuse me,
Under hair analysis.
Under hair analysis. Yeah.
I second
Second
that.
that.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
And this is for
Thank you
both,
very much.
right? All
Well,
right.
no,
That's
so
just
then
for
there'd be,
that
Okay,
this
that's
is,
for
that was
cosmetology.
just
Now
for
we're going, okay, let's
cosmetology.
do natural hair now. Okay, any questions regarding natural hair? Would we say the same? See, hair density is in this actually, under subject 4.
I saw that.
So,
Mm. It is.
good call. You know what I mean?
I'm eating.
No, that's good.
That was all I saw with that.
No.
The goal with this was to update and modernize.
Mhm.
Because it was- they had
What
one in
mine
30
is,
years.
Yeah. That's good.
I do have a question. Beauty and wellness referrals?
Mhm. So
Under
that would be,
Subject 7?
that would be to a dermatologist or a trichologist
Okay.
or a doctor, a
Okay,
Got it.
medical professional.
got you.
And then, so 20 hours is enough for public safety and health.
Who is that?
First page. First page, first
Oh,
page.
first page. I believe it's the same,
Under health and safety.
I believe it's the same for
Same as, well, yeah, I
cosmetology.
think that's what we have.
Yeah,
over
so I
here,
think
too,
the
so.
80 hours for safety and.
I think
disease is the
Cosmo had
same.
26 hours.
Let's see.
I would
safety and
just, that
health.
would be
Cosmo does have
26 hours. And I would just keep that.
20.
Since you can't keep it consistent, can we?
Well, so the original cosmetology course is already at 26. The original natural hair styling course is already at 20.
Oh,
So
okay.
there were,
That's where it is, yeah.
the subcommittee didn't make any changes to
Okay, so what was there?
for the overall hours. They didn't decrease or increase. So they're
Okay.
always,
Because they are getting the comprehensive,
Okay,
and that 20 hours plus, and now with adding the additional, it's gonna make it stronger.
okay. Okay, I agree. I'm sorry I missed that meeting. All right, so that would be, yeah.
So were there any additional comments or questions regarding the update to the natural hairstyling curriculum?
Oh, no,
No changes?
no.
No, I think I'm,
So all in favor of approving the natural hair update?
I, that was
All right.
amazing. And
Thank you.
I have one more comment. Is that acceptable right now?
Mhm.
Okay. So feedback I've been getting regarding the natural hair exam is regarding the gel, right? For me, best practices for this gel, it should be put in a decanter and then used, right? So if I'm going to take, because a lot of people are putting the gel on top of the jar, or they're putting it on the back of their hand, or they're putting it on something on their wrist. And to me, that's not sanitized. It's just not sanitary. And best practice would be for them to decanter the gel. I don't know if they should do it in front during the test. I would imagine so, because then they're showing that, they're showing the process, right? That
Proper
you're
safety
taking that
measures.
out, you're putting it in the decanter, you're gonna close your gel that you just took from, put it away, and now you can use that same decanter on the one client versus having a glob of stuff on your hand or on the top of a jar that we don't know if it's sanitary or not. So I just wanted to bring that, because this is really something that is a conflict in a lot of the exams when they're showing up.
Okay, that's certainly something that we can look into with the intention of the exam, and thank you.
Makes sense.
Okay, and would you be able, if we do, make it to that space of saying, yes, this is what we're gonna do, would you send out a communication so that they're all clear on the updated, protocol for the decantering of the product?
So anytime there are updates to the exam materials, the materials that are provided to the examinees would be updated. So those
Okay.
updates would be posted so that it was clear what the expectations for the exam are.
Okay, and one more thing, because you said with the updated, because we did work on the updates for the curriculum. When does that go out? Like, what is this next step for that?
for what the
The
board just
natural
voted on.
hair, well,
The
yeah,
curriculum.
and
Well,
the
we just
curriculum,
voted
the test, not the curriculum, the test procedures. Because we updated those too.
Well,
So
so
when does that go into
I
place?
can't speak to the test procedures because I don't know.
Because I
if-
believe we added the decantering of the product in the test procedures. So I don't know, do they have the updated procedures yet? Or have they been released?
So I wouldn't be able to comment on the testing procedures. I would only be able to advise
Okay.
on like the regulatory process
Okay,
for what the board just voted on,
okay,
which was to make the recommendation to the secretary to revise Title 19
mhm,
for updates to the two regulatory, sections that the board just voted on. Procedurally, what will happen next is, we'll present the information to the secretary. And then assuming the secretary, accepts the recommendation, it'll have to go through the regulatory process.
Mhm.
I can tell you that because of the way that the regulatory schedule works, this rule will not be effective any earlier than sometime in 2026.
Okay.
The deadline to make changes for what's called the state register,
Mhm.
that was actually last week. So if any, change in state regulation was, if the target date was to have something January 1, 2026, that
Mhm.
deadline was last week. So it'll probably be, the earliest, I would best guess, maybe June of 2026.
Okay, got it.
That would be best guess to have these rules in effect as the new mandatory curriculum.
Okay, gotcha.
But again, that's just a guess.
Thank you. Well, that helps. That's all. Thank you.
That's a good one.
So our next update is the shampooing certificate subcommittee update. Leah?
So as per Shannon,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I have to correct myself. The next one is the apprenticeship subcommittee update.
Yeah.
Also Leah, my apologies.
That's okay. So currently, we have a Google Doc between Aaron, myself, and Dana, who's on the subcommittee. I don't know, Dana, if you've had the chance to look that over well or not. I haven't heard back on anything, on any changes you were looking at.
Okay.
This is for the
We did.
apprenticeship.
Oh, we did.
Oh, for the apprenticeship, not for the shampoo license.
Okay.
No, I have not.
So yeah, so that's basically, I know Aaron and I have both reviewed it and thought everything looked good. It was basically going over expanding cosmetology through apprenticeship partnerships, talking about how I can work for schools, students, and salons, along with creating, more accessible pathway to a career, going through the educational requirements, minimum qualifications for apprentice license, minimum qualifications for a cosmetology supervisor license, along with the scope of practice, including professional requirements that would be through a school. I think it was a total of 80 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And then on top of that, just showing the disparity of, cosmetology courses throughout the state of cost, comparing, and along with barbershop apprenticeship for a reference. Or not barbering, I should say. So just need to finish up that report we submitted to the state. So like I said, I was just waiting on Dana to go over the rest of it.
Do you want us to set up another meeting for that?
Sure.
Candy, you'll reach out with some dates.
I sure
committee
will.
members?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to the shampooing certificate subcommittee update. Leanne?
Before we move on, could I just make a comment regarding the apprenticeship?
Sure.
When I was joined on this board, I know that we were here to recommend to the state what would benefit our industry. So we were created the advisory committee and things like that. And when you talk about the concerns that I have regarding an apprenticeship is, although it does benefit our industry in one manner, it may be detrimental in another manner. Whereas creating this apprenticeship, my concerns are, one, that individuals who own salons, even if they have a supervisory, even if they don't own salons, because it could be just for a regular cosmetologist, even if they get a supervisory license, as you're speaking about and things, that the individuals who are going to be apprenticing underneath them might be, I don't want to use the word abuse, but they will be in an apprenticeship that is not beneficial to them, based on the needs of the individual who's a very busy stylist in a salon, a very busy cosmetologist. And I just want to make sure that if this progresses forward, that that consideration is taken regarding how the state is going to protect the individuals who are in an apprenticeship from something like that occurring, where they are only there to service the needs of that busy individual, and that they they follow through in a manner that the state can regulate these individuals who are in these apprenticeships so that they are not just used as extra help. That's all I wanted to comment about. Okay.
And
Thank
to
you.
Anthony's point, I'd like to add that we've recently shared with the Consumer Affairs Division in Albany with your colleagues that in Long Island, I believe it was Carl Place, we had another bad actor who was hiring estheticians and individuals who were not licensed as well to work in a medical day spa. They were told that it was a terrific career path for them to learn how to use the technology that this medical day spa owned, lasers, et cetera. They would then charge $6,000 per person to learn the technology, to get certified by this business owner so that they would then work within that space. So we've shared it with Consumer Affairs. We've brought it up. Historically, it's been an issue. The concern is that student protections, consumers who become students, sometimes by default, in a working environment like that, how are they going to be protected in terms of having enough of the state having the bandwidth to supervise and to stay on top of these types of issues? So we've got some support from BPSS, from Marissa Boomhauer, and also from Consumer Affairs, and we're working on some initiatives. So that's positive. But in the interim, the district attorney in Nassau County got involved. Asset forfeiture, I believe, I'm not positive that the assets of that company, meaning the technology, the lasers, were all seized. Rightly so, you know, but hopefully the students were able, or the individuals were able to get their money back. So that's, I believe what you're saying is that there's a lot of bad actors, and that's our concern.
Within what we've put in here to propose, it actually says that they have to be paid and they cannot be charged. So, you know, the problem of what you're speaking about still has nothing to do with anybody that's applying for any sort of license. So to stop that completely in the state has nothing to do per se with creating something of an apprenticeship. People, if they're going to do that, they're going to do that. You know, my feeling to some degree is people should be a little more aware if you're going into that field, or if you're thinking about it, to do their research on what is required by the state. So if they follow the protocol and go to the state sites and they see, you know, that there's an apprenticeship program such as for barbering, I don't even think barbering lists saying that they have to be, you know, paid. But we're actually listing in there that they have to be paid and that they are not to be charged a fee to learn the skill. And, you know, in the end, if they're not being provided the proper education and training, they're not going to pass the test. And we're still proposing it to go through partly with a school. Rather they do that, and I have it in here proposed as they could do the schooling as early as they receive their apprentice license to as late as prior, you know, before taking the test. They have to have it before taking the test. You know, me personally, if they do it in the beginning, obviously that's going to serve them better. But it also allows people that would take this untraditional route, because I think in the end, you're talking about people that aren't going to step foot in a beauty school no matter what. They don't have the money, they don't have the time, they have other obligations. So this is geared more towards somebody, because if I have the option to go to school for 8 months and come out with temporary license and being able to take the test, as compared to apprenticing under somebody for 2 years and 2,000 hours, then I'm going to go the route that's quicker. But if I can't afford to do that, like I said, I had a receptionist who worked for me who was very interested in the field.
Yeah, no.
But she had a disabled veteran husband who couldn't manage the household all day by himself and their 3 children. So she needed to contribute because they didn't make enough money. He didn't make enough money on his disability to support the family. So she still needed to work, but there was no way possible for her to work and then go to school to get her skill to be able to go into a career that she could make decent money in. So this would be an alternative for that.
So it definitely sounds like there's more to discuss.
Yeah.
For.
So
I just have that.
I just want to add, to my point, I just want to add one more thing. Although you saying that this is a viable thing and you're saying that bad actors, well, I've been in the school business long enough where there are schools that are bad actors as well. And the reality of this is the schools who are existing now have so much regulation on them from the different governing bodies. At least the state of New York does not have to worry about the schools that still exist because the regulations are in place to assure the individuals a good education. Whereas if you do move forward with these individuals who are going to take on apprentices, I just want to make sure the state of New York has the ability to protect the individuals, just like at our schools, that they are going to get a good apprenticeship. And how is it going to be managed by the state to assure that? That's all I want to say.
And I'd like to add to Anthony's point that we have to keep in mind that the student that this is happening to is typically from an underserved minority community. English is not their first language. This is not necessarily a student who is coming from a middle-class community who has access to internet information and is updated on what New York State has posted on their website. So we're talking, Leanne, we're talking about different people, and 30 years of educating and supervising and directing and being a community institution, as well as many others that are heavily regulated by the federal government, the state, the county. We are seeing something very different than you are seeing. Our experiences are different, not that we are negating yours. We are saying that there are many issues that exist that the students need to be protected. And if it's a school that's doing it, it's a bad school, we want them out. If it's an unlicensed school, we don't want them in our community. But most importantly, we want the students to be protected. And again, they don't all have access to internet and information and is not as readily available. And that is a majority of our students who are single mothers, head of household. There are programs where they can work, they can go to school, receive Department of Labor benefits, and get an education in under 6 months. So the things that you're understanding are not necessarily the reality on the ground. That's the difference that we see versus what you see. So this committee can keep working on this.
I wouldn't say it's unrealistic, or what I'm saying is unrealistic on the ground. It just depends on the area that you live in. I grew up in the poorest county in New York State, so you don't have to tell me about that. But there are many options out there today to, whether it's going to a library or there's a lot of places that you can still have internet access if that's the case. By all means, I still want students protected. And that's part of what we put in here of why they need to be paid and not charged, along with other things. But again, it depends on the student, it depends on the school, it depends on the salon. There's a lot of things that ride on that, and it's not just of saying who's going to be a supervising cosmetologist for these people, but it's no different. Like you said, there's good schools, there's bad schools. I have people come out working in my salon from the 2 main schools in this area. Some of them come out with very good skill. Some of them come out very weak. Is that a true reflection of the school or the student? It depends. So, there's no real measure to that other than putting in place protections, just like you have protections for the people attending schools. And again, if they have those options, like you're talking about, of being paid by the Department of Labor and going to school at the same time and doing it, and for cosmetology, it's 8 months full time, then why would you not take that option? But there's people out there that don't qualify for that option. So it's just a different pathway.
I think we're all in agreement. I think what they're actually saying, is just that if this is passed, if this is gonna happen, at least I know the state probably will not have enough people to supervise these things. But I think what I'm hearing is they just want it to be supervised just to make sure the abuse is not there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That is correct.
that's it.
You're
Okay,
right.
so I think we're all on the same page.
Mhm.
It's just that we wanted to be supervised to make sure the abuse of the past is not now in the present, in a new, you know,
Mhm. And I
Case, yeah.
think, to add to that, I think that we can borrow from states that have had success
Right.
with these programs. You know, Iowa just introduced cosmetology and barbering. Pennsylvania has a cosmetology apprenticeship. And then there's another state that has, I believe it's like DC, they have you can take a test to become a supervisor, a cosmetologist supervisor. Don't quote me on the word, but it's
Right.
a pathway, right? Where they become a cosmetologist, but then they can now become that supervisor, but there's testing. So there's going to be standards and regulations attached, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think that the world that we live in right now, realistically, economically, we have to have more options
Absolutely.
and ways to get to, economic stability. Some people, again, you have the single mom, like you said, she can qualify for this or go to school or what have you. Then you have programs like EOC that you have to qualify at a certain income. And there's some people that don't qualify, but are still destitute and want to get a license. So having an apprenticeship option would give them that
Right.
opportunity. So,
But also remember though,
mhm.
in New York, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not required to have continuing education.
No.
I do it all the time.
No.
So now you're taking a stylist with 10 years experience, but
Mhm.
never updated, are not updated
Good
with the
point.
new process and so there has to be some standard put in it
Yeah, and
that's
where the
going to allow whoever the supervisor for these apprentices are should have some form of extra,
Mhm. They should have a
requirements,
certificate.
at least certifications that you've taken some classes,
Mhm.
that you're upgrading yourself. Because I've been to salons, I work with a hair care company. I've been to salons where I'm like, did they just say that? Are they really doing that? You can't do that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, they've been doing hair for 30, 40 years.
Mhm.
So,
And
I-
that's why the partnership
right.
with the existing schools would work.
right.
Also bringing in
Mhm.
the, you just said about sorry, my brain. I have
Like,
a traumatic-
like for the stylists to do some
Okay,
form
yes,
of
for the training,
education,
the education.
training,
Continuing education.
continuing education.
They have the certifications, right? So definitely
CEU.
the CE with the
Yeah.
schools, and then the training that is
Mhm.
required for
I
any
really
type of
think cosmetologists
certification.
should.
Right, and then that's a
Yeah.
whole
That's
nother.
another conversation.
Hmm?
So it sounds like there's
That's in the list.
yeah.
I know, it's like
definitely
a whole
some-
thing.
Some more
It's
things
the
to
whole thing,
discuss
yes.
and work
But we
out.
can
Yeah.
flesh it out, and I
No, we
think
have
that
that in the
can
list
be
as far as,
something that is-
Yeah.
supervising cosmetologists that would be doing it.
And we can
Qualifications.
continue this too in the next subcommittee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
these are really great points that
I
can
just don't
be
see this.
discussed in the next meeting. Candy should have some date options out to you pretty shortly. Okay, thank you. Okay, so back to the shampoo.
The shampoo.
certificate
So
subcommittee.
as per Shannon's direction, we've done a proposed scope of practice for a certified shampoo specialist. Dana was supposed to submit that, I believe, last week, towards the end of the week to.
It was submitted. We did receive
I was,
it.
we did
Yeah.
receive it.
Yeah, we-
So,
Right.
yes, we all went over that and did the proposed scope of practice, authorized services, along with prohibited, restricted services, and then definitions, as far as kind of clarifying some of the terms. So that's where we're at on that.
Okay.
Comment?
So up next is the advisory.
Before we do that, was the comments from the New York State Beauty School Association put into the records regarding the shampoo license?
Not in the official record. They have not been submitted on the document.
So there is time still to submit a document regarding the shampoo license?
What is that?
There's a statement, a position statement from the State Beauty School Association.
Okay. Okay.
Has that been submitted to anyone in Albany?
At this point, we're still discussing it at the subcommittee. They've worked on the scope of practice, but we haven't moved beyond the subcommittee at this point. This was just an update on our meetings that we've had.
Okay. So regarding the position from the New York State Beauty School Association, should that be read into the records today, or should that just be held off until the subcommittee continues with the shampoo license?
Would you be able to opine on that?
So, generally speaking, because the subcommittee hasn't made any sort of formal recommendation to the board,
Okay.
any sort of position on a hypothetical, recommendation would be potentially premature.
Okay.
Because we have no idea what the subcommittee may or may not present.
That's why Dave's here.
So, I mean, you're certainly free to say anything or to
No, I
submit
mean,
anything, but.
There is a position, but I mean, if it doesn't have to be done today, it could be the next meeting or something like that, as we get closer.
Right. I mean, again, though, my recommendation or, sort of analysis would be that it's difficult, I think, to have a position on a recommendation that hasn't been presented yet.
Presented.
Right? Like,
Right.
I'm making the assumption that you believe that the subcommittee is going to come out one particular way, right? But if it's, let's say, the complete opposite, like your position may no longer be relevant, right? So I don't know how I can advise a board member on a hypothetical recommendation that hasn't been presented yet.
Right.
Except to
Okay.
say, perhaps you'd want to wait.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, sir.
So moving on to advisory committee titles. Dave?
Yes, so as I understand at the last meeting, there was a question about the titles of the board appointments. And specifically, the membership of the Appearance Enhancement Subcommittee. And in particular, there was a question about what was referred to as the Pretlow Bill from 2017. So the law, just for the board members, I guess, education, is that in 2017, the board composition didn't actually change. So there was always 9 members of the board. That's been that way ostensibly since 1992 when the board was created, and then in 1998 when there was the last change prior to the 2017 Pretlow Bill. So the actual membership has always been consistent, at least since 1998 at 9 members. What the Pretlow Bill did was, with respect to paragraph 1, when it spoke to or referenced the 9-member composition, behind the requirement that one of them would be knowledgeable in the practice of styling techniques which place tension on the roots. What they did is they added, and one shall ensure strict adherence to the quality services for all clients of all hair types, including but not limited to curl pattern, hair strand thickness, and volume of hair. So in terms of the composition, it's still going to be that there's going to be 2 hairstylists in terms of the actual license type. Like, that number didn't change. But because, there's obviously what was referenced in the bill, sort of a need for more, curriculum development, particularly with respect to what has been previously non-represented, like hairstyles, with respect to what the statute referred to as the various cultural and ethnic background of hair. That's what they added. So it's still 2 natural hairstylists. Natural hairstylists obviously can work on, a wide range of customers and clients. But one was, basically supposed to have specialized experience or practice or, history in, what I just read, which was having the adherence for the quality of services of all clients, including but not limited to their curl pattern, hair strand thickness, and the volume of hair. So that's what the 2017 bill did.
So clarify the position,
Correct,
what
so,
the qualifications are for that person to be on the board.
correct, so it's still two natural hair stylists, so you still need to be licensed in that category. But the member that is going to be in that sort of an enhanced position or the clarified position should have like a background where they're able to demonstrate that skill and adherence to that type of quality of service.
So let me just clarify. So in that case, that person, because for me, I do hair. Now we're classifying it, but I do hair all over, like
Right.
texture. I do hair based on textures and curl patterns.
Mhm.
So, and I always did. So I do natural, I do straight, I do relaxed. So now, so my question is, do I now have to have a specific natural license? Because I was one of those that fought for the natural.
No.
Some
No,
people.
you don't.
So you're a cosmetologist.
Yeah, you're on
right?
Yeah.
the
So
board
do
as a
you-
cosmetologist.
Right.
I'm a Cosmo educator. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
No, but I meant like, sorry, in terms of like your
Mhm.
position on the board is you were selected because
Right.
you're the licensed cosmetologist,
Got
though you may have the skill, the experience, the history to do
Got it.
all of those others or
Mhm.
or all that other criteria.
Got it.
So on here where it says hairstylist, these should say natural hairstylist again, because at one point they did. Or do they stay this way? Because I think that's kind of like not, okay, what is a
Mhm.
hairstylist? Like, I'm a cosmetologist, I'm a hairstylist, right? So it's not really defining.
What you actually do.
Yeah, but at one point, on this sheet, it did say natural hairstylist.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, that could just be, something that, program did, but
Program.
it certainly, I don't think intended to reflect a change in the statute. The
Okay.
actual statute still literally reads two persons engaged in
Yeah,
quote, natural hair styling.
Got it.
I think that this is shorthand, for us as an internal
Got it.
document in terms of like who's on the board.
Mhm.
But it's for that,
So looking at this, right?
Mhm.
And what we have, so we have the hairstyles, because Leanne is down as a hairstylist. Wouldn't she be a cosmetologist? Because
I
the
don't,
hairstylist,
I don't know what her license
Positions-
type is. I can't speak to that.
no, she is a cosmetologist.
Okay.
No, I'm saying that on here.
She's saying the
the-
title.
Yeah, the
I'm
two
listed I'm listed under as
hairstylists.
hairstylist, but just so you guys all know, my children are biracial. So I do work on textured hair.
Yeah. But I'm
yes,
just looking
But a
at this in terms
cosmetologist would
of
still, to
formality.
some degree, encompass that.
Oh,
Got
I mean, that would be perhaps something that like, Candy or Emily could look into. I mean, it would also depend on like whether or not anybody has ever changed their license category.
Mhm.
So like, and again, I can't speak to this because I don't know,
Mhm.
the particular history, but
Okay.
like, I don't know if somebody was originally a natural hairstylist and then. it-
There wasn't.
There wasn't, this is.
Upgrade.
There was,
yeah.
there was one at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it was me, but I'm an educator.
So am I too.
Yeah,
But
so,
Right. I mean, the other
I mean, I'm
thing,
here as an
I mean, we
educator.
could look into it. I mean, as I said, as I had mentioned previously to some of the board members, certain members are appointed by the secretary and then
Mhm.
others are appointed by, the Senate and the Assembly leaders respectively. And so, depending on literally like what they sent over, if it
Mhm.
wasn't a secretary appointment, that's how the positions are filled. So,
Okay.
I mean, we could talk to our intergov people, just
Yeah, I think we can kind of.
So it's based on how it was filled at the time.
correct. So if
Got
you
it.
were, appointed, but then actually if the individual was no longer in that license category, there's probably an argument to be made
Got
that,
it.
they would have relinquished or resigned from their seat if they no longer met that qualification.
it.
So, I mean, I'm just going off of the document that says, who's appointed to what position under what authority. I trust, everyone up in Albany and that this is correct, but
Is there a way that we can update this?
I don't want to make it more confusing and difficult,
okay.
but my impression was the cosmetology license also includes a natural hairstyling license or covers it as well. So my question would be, if you have a cosmetology license, can you be on the board as a stylist? I don't want to make it all confusing,
But
but
I did it because it's
Right.
like,
I mean, so the general rule is that under the definitions
Mhm.
of the general business law, so it's section 400, yes, anyone who has a license as a cosmetologist can perform
as,
the
as a
specific,
natural hairstyle
well, they aren't
license.
licensed as those other categories, but
But they
they're
are-
able to authorize to provide those
Those
specific
services.
That's
services.
correct.
So I don't think though that this is, you know, I don't know, again, like, I don't know how every one of you board members and how everyone was specifically appointed.
Right.
You know, to do that, we'd actually have to look at the appointment papers to see how, you know,
let's
how
do
they were
it.
appointed. We can certainly, I'll work with Candy and, the Albany folks to see if we could figure out. how
The
to
only
get these
reason
appointed.
I say let's do that is because when you go on here and say you want to be on the board and you're looking, you're like, what is a hairstylist? What does that mean? Or what, whereas when you're focusing on the scopes of practice, you have an esthetician, a natural hairstylist, cosmetology, you have what makes up the appearance enhancement board listed versus just saying hairstylist.
'Cause I consider myself a hairstylist.
Yeah, I'm a
also.
hairstylist. She's,
I'm a
he's
hairstylist, I'm an educator.
That's
I'm
the
a-
old school way of saying it, right?
Yeah.
But the formal way is cosmetologist.
That's right.
The formal way is natural hair, stylist or esthetician. So I just want us to think about that as we move forward. Thank you.
Thanks, David. It's my fault.
We have some homework to do.
Yes.
And what was that bill? What was the bill?
Oh, the Pretlow law?
Yeah.
So that was chapter 339 of the laws of 2017.
Can you spell what you're saying? Like,
Okay, got it.
Pretlow? So that's the assembly person that sponsored the bill.
Okay,
It's PRETLOW. And then the citation for the law is, it's the laws of 2017, chapter 339.
I was saying plus.
Thank you very much, Dave. So we will now move to the public comment period. We'll start in Albany. Members of the public that wish to make a statement?
Can I
Okay.
ask a question?
Did you have a statement?
I know you didn't answer, but I'll ask a question and then we answer that. As far as the, right, the apprenticeship and this shampoo certificate subcommittee thing, is it possible for someone that's not on the board to be on the subcommittee? All right, because it is something that I'm interested in, and your support about that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Buffalo? Hi,
Yes, Emily, thank you.
yes. And you have a comment to make?
Sure, Paul Grunauer from the Salon Professional Academy in Tonawanda. We're a cosmetology school. And we also, my wife also owns a salon, so she's also in the industry as well. I guess my first question is, on item C, which was the shampooing certificate, is there any way to get just some information about the discussion on that?
So public comment period is for you to make comments to the board. Did you have any comments that you wish to make?
Sure. Well, I would love to, at least a comment on that. I'd love to find out some more information about that, just to be able to add some valuable input. And regarding the apprenticeship, this just my first time hearing about it, but my concerns would be as being involved in a salon as well as in a school. easing our barrier to entry to in the industry, but also lowering our standards or the control that the state has on the quality of those standards. There are a lot of bad things that can happen in a salon, and we've seen them. Whether it be in the news or in your own salon, of somebody getting burned or getting an infection or whatever those cases are, and that can get pretty ugly while harming the public. At the present time, New York State is already at the lowest amount of hours in the nation at 1,000 hours for cosmetology. And the industry itself is actually moving away from salons. It's going pretty hardcore to booth rental. That's an awfully big net to observe or control on the individual booth rentals and the quality of education that an individual will be getting. There are some very important things that the state has in its 1,000 hours that are extremely important to be covering correctly. I know from ourselves that, at least from the school point of view, we are audited every year, and it's a pretty extensive audit. It takes about a week. That report is then sent to the state, and that is things. They interview our educators, they interview our students, they interview our financial aid. It's a pretty deep dive audit. It takes them about a week, and not to mention our how much we prepare for it as an academy. So the apprentice system, at first hearing about that would, I'm not sure if that would be the right direction for the industry. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Is there anyone else in the Buffalo office?
I'm here all alone.
Okay, thank you. All right. New York City, are there any members of the public that wish to make a statement or a comment?
Yeah, we have one individual, yes.
Okay.
You could just sit at the.
Good morning. My name is Genevieve Santos-Ban. I'm a licensed esthetician. And I don't know if this is the right form to put it, but like, is there an update on the microneedling bill for estheticians?
So this is a public comment period. So if you'd like to make a comment, you can, but it is not an opportunity for dialogue with the board members.
Well, a lot of my colleagues are, I'm from the Queens area. A lot of my colleagues are licensed estheticians, and I understand in New York City, we can do microneedling, but like outside of that, it's like very strict. And so a lot of them are, wanting to have that ability to perform those services on our clients. And also, I read through the notes from the last meeting about an advanced aesthetics license. So I think I know that would take a while to, move through the pipeline, but there are some schools that are offering over 600 hours of schooling, but to be able to like offer that license would be great for New York State. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other members of the public that wish to comment?
There's no one else in New York City.
Okay, that's okay. So the time is now 11:08, and we move to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. Anthony?
I first.
Thank you.
A second.
A second.
Oh,
Okay.
second. What are we doing? We're adjourned. Okay, we're done. We're adjourned.
adjourned.
Okay.
but.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.